Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. My camera battery is completely dead, and I don't want to deal with it right now. So I'm doing the video this way, and today we are talking about The Last Good Daughter by Dr. Gunnoe. Um, Dr. Gunnoe's first name is Diana. There's a picture of her. Isn't she pretty? I love her shirt. Um, anyway, so The Last Good Daughter. It's how to explain it. Um, so what boggles my mind, I really don't know where to begin with this because, um, so definitely read it. I definitely suggest you guys read it, but, can I just put this, I, I know, maybe I can get a box or something. I will figure this out. Like, that doesn't help, does it? More books. Authors supporting authors. That's what we're doing here. Um, come here, Hafsa. You can help. Okay. So, The Last Good Daughter by Dr. Gunnoe, Diana. She talks a lot about, like, mostly it's statistics and her own experience of being a Mexican American woman in the United States. Um, Statistics, I have a hard time uh, worrying about statistics because numbers just don't mean anything to me. A story means more to me. The thing about statistics, especially in this case, is the statistics tell the story, you know? And so, and that's important. That can't be, um, that can't be stressed enough that the statistics do tell the story. Um, but I did find myself like kind of more interest. I tried very hard to focus on the numbers and the statistics because they mattered, especially in the telling of this story. But I found myself that I was more interested in her own personal story. And one of the things that boggled my mind is how she graduated in much the same kind of systemic racism that I graduated in. I was class of 2000. I believe she graduated in. She said she was born in like the late 60s, so I think she graduated like in my like first 10 years of living. Um Honestly, but like I was class of 2000, and despite the gap between our graduations, the systemic racism was not much different, and that is kind of irritating, honestly. Um when I graduated uh mostly with most of my class was graduating class was Hispanic and black and other people of color. There was a few of us that were the fair skinned variety, the white privileged American, and I kind of get irritated when um other like other Caucasian people are like, "Oh, there's no such thing as white privilege in America." And it's like, I lived it. When your guidance counselor is telling you and the others like you and your brothers and your neighbors that, hey, this is the college education options for you, and then they're turning around and telling, like they told my friend Rosita that she didn't have to worry about college. She should just go ahead and get a factory job. She only needed a high school diploma to get a factory job, and then she would just work there until she um got married and had kids, or she could uh clean hotel rooms, which ticked me off when I was a kid, and I find that it doesn't make me any less angry now. To be quite honest with you, um, when Juan he wanted to be a pilot, and they told him to just be a mechanic. He didn't have to worry about high school, or he didn't have to worry about college or anything. And his dad died when he was 12, and he was the only male in his family, and his grandmother lived with him and his mom and his three sisters. And they his mom and his grandmother were basically like, they didn't want him to be a pilot because it meant he would be gone all the time, and they needed a man at the house to take care of them. And so he became a mechanic, like the guidance counselor told him. Claudia, unlike Juan, had support of her father and her parents, and her, her mom and dad and uncle and grandmother were all like, no, you're not going to work in a factory. We work in a factory, so you don't have to work in a factory. Go be a doctor and bring home that doctor money, and then take care of the family. And she kind of did that, and Rosita actually just went and became a vet because that's what she wanted to do. And her dad was annoyed that she wanted to be a vet, and he's like, no, go be a human doctor instead of a dog doctor. He says your patients are going to bite you. And his son, her brother Chico, he did become a doctor, a human doctor, and he can testify that his patients also bite him. And it's funny listening to them on the conversations. She and I haven't spoken to each other for like 10 years now. But the last time I talked to her, she was telling me that a patient peed on her while she was trying to give him a vaccination, and her dad was in the background yelling at her. That wouldn't happen if you were a human doctor. Just if you had been a real doctor, they wouldn't pee on you when you're trying to give him a vaccination. And Chico's in the background yelling about a patient. He's like, no, my patients pee on me all the time, you know? Um, but it's funny listening to them because they're they're an interesting family to where they're very different from my family. My family is very warm and very loving, and her family is warm and loving in a very different way. They tease each other mercilessly. They are constantly taking shots at each other, especially her and her brother. Um, and like my family is more like, we'll take shots at each other, but we're very conscientious of what is um sensitive, what each other are sensitive to. And um you know I had my parents support telling me, go ahead and, be a writer, and telling my brothers to do whatever they wanted. And what I love about my upbringing and my brother's upbringing is, like, me and my oldest brother, we've had several different jobs. Actually, my youngest brother's had a ton of different jobs too, but like, we cycled through different jobs until we figured out what it is we actually like. My oldest brother is almost 50, and he finally figured out that actually he does like to be a mechanic. And so he got into that. He was in the army. He was a police cadet. He did construction for a little while. He did security, installed security. He did a lot of different things until he finally figured out that he would rather just work on people's cars. Um, but it kind of irritates me that, despite the generation gap between Diana and I, that we both saw the systemic racism in the high schools, like the one place where you are supposed to be able to have somebody in your corner to tell you you can go and do whatever you want to do. And we are going to show you we are going to help you figure out a path to get where you want. You want to be a doctor, we'll help you be a doctor. You want to be a lawyer, we'll help you be a lawyer. You want to be an actor, we'll figure that out. And like, that was laid out for myself, that was laid out for my brothers, that was laid out for some of my neighbors, but it was kind of dismissed for Rosita and Juan, and even some of the others. um a lot of the people of color were told the same thing, just, factory work, or construction or mechanic or tattoo artist. Like they just didn't take him seriously, and it kind of ticks me off. And I'd like to think that's not happening in today's schools, but racism isn't a new thing, unfortunately, and it's not a rare thing, which you would think by now it would be. But I love that uh for Diana, she wasn't satisfied. She started off on the path that was laid out for her. They're like, go to community college for 2 years, become a secretary, make some money, take care of your family until you become a mother and a wife. And she was like, the first year of community college, she's like, no, that's not going to work for me. I'm not satisfied with that. And even her family was telling her, like, this is what you do. You have to be the good daughter. You have to take care of your family. And she was like, why? And she left her family. Like she talks about one point early in the book that for her to follow her dreams would mean to offend a lot of people in her community and in her family and break a lot of hearts, and she did that. And she comes home for these different um family functions, and they don't really know what to say to her or how to act around her because she's not towing the line. She's not sticking with the status quo. And so they're like, where you been? We haven't seen you in a while. And like they're really not sure what to say to her. But what I love about this is that she found her own way, and like she fought and struggled to find her way to where she wanted to be. And like everybody counted her out and everybody underestimated her, and she just kept proving them wrong over and over and over again. And not only would it would have been enough for her to say, it would have been understandable, maybe not enough, but it would have been understandable for her to say, you know what, I'm not satisfied with my education, so I'm going to get better education. I'm going to keep going, and I'm not satisfied with what everyone tells me is available. I see that this is available for everybody else who's an American citizen. I'm an American citizen, so it should be available to me. So I'm going to go try that. And she did. And it would have been understandable if she's like, okay, I got what I want, you know, and just be like, yeah, you got to work like crazy for it, but you can get it, and like just leave it at that. But she didn't. She not only wasn't satisfied with her own education, she wasn't satisfied with how others in her community were being treated, and she kind of became an advocate for others that were dissatisfied with their education, and was like, hey, you don't have to accept what they're giving you. um there was a saying I heard once, if you if you accept what everybody tells you, they're never going to give you anything more. If you stay uh not using your voice means that you will, if you don't use your voice, you will get what they give you, what they're willing to give you. But by using your voice, you get what you deserve. And just because you're not an Anglo-Saxon, white privileged American doesn't mean that you don't deserve the same treatment and that you don't deserve the same respect and consideration for your dreams. And I love that she wasn't willing to just say, okay, uh, I got what I needed out of this and I'm good. So, if I can do it, you could do it. She's like, no, you need an advocate. You need someone to tell you you can get this and you are entitled to it. You deserve to succeed and be more than what you're expected to be. Um, I love that she didn't see other people succeeding that looked like her, and that can be discouraging. And I love that she was like, okay, well, if I can't find someone who looks like me to be the role model, then I will be the role model. I'll just be the first one. And that was something that Rosita, when her that's what her father told her when she was talking about being a vet. When she went through vet school, she told her dad, she says, um I'm not I'm the only Mexican in my class. Nobody in my class is Mexican. And she says, I don't even think there are Mexican vets. And her dad said, well, if there are no Mexican vets, then you get to be the first Mexican vet. You make history. And like, I'm glad she had her dad to, kind of be that advocate that she needed. Um, but, there's so many that don't, like Diana, that just didn't have that. Um, I don't really know what else to say about this. Like, I'm glad, I'm so glad Diana wrote this book. And I guess this is book one of three books. There's what did she say? It's the first of three books. The last there's the last good daughter. Um, I think she wrote down what the others were. I Maybe it's in the back. Sorry. But I do know that this is the first of the Mexican American Daughter series. Um, yeah, I can't find where she talks about. I Towards the beginning of the book, she talks about how this is the first of three books in the series. Um, if I can find it, I don't know if the other two have been published or not. If they have, I'll link those in the description as well. But I just wanted to get this video out. I definitely think that she has a very important message, and that a message that everyone can benefit from hearing, whether regardless of their ethnic background. I think that it's a great book to read, to get a perspective, and especially to see a perspective that it maybe might not be your own, or maybe it is your own. Um, she talks a lot about how other uh, Latina stories have, like, they're her stories as well. Um, but yeah, I think it's a go get the book, and if they're available, go get the other two books. Like I said, I'll link them in the description. Um, but it is late here. My husband is wanting to start our date night, and I've got to get going. So, but I definitely wanted to pop on here and make sure that I gave this book a shout out. So I will see you guys in the next one. Um, what am I reading? More Not the Mortals. Yeah. All right. Bye.